In the quiet town of Cormorant, Minnesota, no one expected that their mayor would have 4 legs and a wagging tail. But in 2014, a simple joke during a local festival turned into an election that would capture the hearts of people around the world. Nestled among the rolling lakes and green fields of northwestern Minnesota lies the small town of Cormorant. With fewer than 1,000 residents, Cormorant was the kind of place where life moved at a slower pace, where neighbors greeted each other by name, and where community gatherings were a cherished tradition. In summer, the town bloomed with activity. Locals and tourists alike flocked to the area to enjoy the sparkling waters of nearby lakes, the warm sun, and the friendly charm of this quiet corner of America. But in 2014, something entirely unexpected happened in Cormorant, something that would soon make this humble town famous around the world. It all started, like many great stories do, with a festival. Every year, the people of Cormorant gathered to celebrate their small-town pride with a summer festival filled with food, music, and laughter. There were fishing contests, cook-offs, parades, and, for a touch of whimsy, a mock mayoral election. This election had never been serious. With no official local government to speak of, the title of mayor was purely ceremonial, a fun way to add some spirit to the festivities. Usually, people would vote for someone as a joke, a friendly neighbor, a longtime business owner, or even a well-known character from town folklore. But that year, in 2014, the people of Cormorant decided to do something different. Someone, no one remembers exactly who, suggested the name of Duke, a large, gentle Great Pyrenees dog beloved by the entire community. At first, it seemed like nothing more than a light-hearted prank. "Why not Duke?" people laughed. "He's friendlier than most politicians." Word spread quickly. As ballots were collected, more and more votes piled up for the fluffy candidate with the kind eyes and wagging tail. By the time the votes were counted, there was no contest. Duke had won, by a landslide. Cormorant had a new mayor, and he had paws. The news rippled through the festival crowd, at first met with giggles and playful cheers. But, as the realization set in, the atmosphere shifted from amusement to genuine excitement. The town had always prided itself on its sense of humor and tight-knit community spirit. Now, with Duke as their honorary leader, they had something, or rather, someone, who perfectly embodied both. Duke wasn't just any dog, he was a local celebrity in his own right. Owned by local residents David and Karen Rick, Duke had long been a familiar sight around town. With his thick white fur, calm demeanor, and ever-present friendly gaze, Duke was the kind of dog who made friends wherever he went. He lounged in front of the local stores, greeted visitors with a wag of his tail, and accepted treats from the townspeople with dignified appreciation. "He's the friendliest mayor we could ask for," David joked, as reporters began to call. Indeed, news of Cormorant's canine mayor spread faster than anyone could have imagined. What started as a small-town joke quickly caught the attention of regional media. Soon, national outlets picked up the story. And not long after that, the tale of Duke, the dog mayor, reached audiences across the globe. CNN, BBC, USA Today, and countless others shared images of Duke wearing a ceremonial hat, posing proudly for his official mayoral portrait. He sat at the head of parades, flanked by American flags and cheering townspeople. Tourists, enchanted by the story, began making special trips to Cormorant, just for a chance to meet the now famous mayor in person. Children giggled as they posed for photos with Duke, while adults chuckled at the sheer charm of the situation. But beneath the humor, there was something deeper at play. Duke represented something rare in a world often weighed down by cynicism and division. He was a symbol of joy, of community, and of the simple belief that leadership can come in many forms. As the weeks turned into months, Duke's fame only grew. Local businesses proudly displayed photos of their canine leader. Souvenirs bearing his image, mugs, T-shirts, postcards, became bestsellers. Festival attendance soared, with many visitors hoping to catch a glimpse of the famous mayor. Reporters continued to visit the town, eager to capture interviews with residents and learn more about the dog who had captured so many hearts. For Duke, however, life remained delightfully simple. He still enjoyed his daily naps in the sun, he still welcomed ear scratches from passers-by, and he still led the town, not with speeches or policies, but with wagging enthusiasm and quiet, comforting presence. More than just a mascot, Duke became a unifying figure for the people of Cormorant. In an era of political tension and negativity, their dog mayor brought laughter and lightness. He reminded them, and the world, that sometimes leadership isn't about power or politics. Sometimes it's about community, about kindness, about being there for each other in the small moments and the big ones. As summer came to a close, the people of Cormorant looked back on their festival and smiled. They had not only celebrated their town, but had shared a message with the world. And it all started with a simple, joyful decision to put their faith in a dog named Duke. A mayor with no political experience, no agenda, no scandals, just a heart full of love for his people. And for that, they couldn't have chosen better. From the moment Duke claimed the title of mayor, life in Cormorant shifted in ways no one had expected. What had begun as a light-hearted joke during the summer festival quickly blossomed into something far more meaningful. Duke, the fluffy, ever-smiling Great Pyrenees, embraced his new role with the quiet dignity of a seasoned leader. Though he never held meetings or signed official documents, Duke's presence alone seemed to lift the spirits of everyone around him. Every day, townspeople saw him making his rounds, as if inspecting the streets of his beloved Cormorant. He would stroll past the general store, where locals would greet him with a smile and a scratch behind the ears. He'd lounge outside the bakery, soaking up the sun as the sweet scent of fresh pastries filled the air. Children ran to him, arms outstretched, while their parents took photos and chuckled at the sight of the town's mayor enjoying his day. Duke didn't need words to lead. His gentle eyes and friendly nature spoke volumes. As the weeks went on, Duke's fame continued to grow beyond the borders of Cormorant. News outlets from across the country and around the world reached out to cover the story of the dog mayor. Television crews arrived with cameras and microphones, eager to capture footage of Duke performing his official duties. And Duke, ever the professional, handled the attention like a pro. He posed proudly for photos, his thick white coat gleaming in the sunlight. He accepted treats from reporters with calm gratitude. During parades, he rode in style, perched high atop a decorated hay wagon, waving his tail like a royal scepter, as crowds lined the streets to cheer him on. Local bands played festive tunes, children waved American flags, and tourists snapped pictures as Duke passed by, looking every bit the proud leader of his town. "He's the best mayor we've ever had," one resident declared during an interview. "He never argues, he never raises taxes, and he always makes us smile." Laughter followed the remark, but beneath the humor, there was a deep well of affection for Duke. He had become more than a figurehead. He had become a unifying force. Cormorant, once a quiet town tucked away in Minnesota's lake country, found itself basking in unexpected attention. Tourism soared. Visitors from across the United States, and even from overseas, traveled to see Duke in person. They filled the local diner, browsed the shops, and attended town events, hoping to catch a glimpse of the famous mayor. Some brought gifts, gourmet dog treats, toys, and even handmade banners declaring, "Hail to the Chief, Mayor Duke." Local businesses flourished under the spotlight, and the town embraced its newfound fame with open arms. But beyond the economic boost, something even more valuable was happening. Duke's story was reminding people both near and far of the simple joys of community and the unexpected places where inspiration can be found. In a world often divided by politics and differences, here was a town that had chosen unity, humor, and love, all embodied in a large, lovable dog. Duke's leadership extended far beyond public appearances. He had a way of bringing people together, especially during difficult times. When storms swept through the region, downing trees and causing power outages, Duke was there. Though he couldn't lift fallen branches or repair wires, his calm presence offered comfort to those working hard to restore the town. During fundraisers for local charities, Duke's participation guaranteed a crowd. His appearances at community events turned ordinary gatherings into celebrations. And in return, the people of Cormorant cared for Duke as if he were royalty. Local businesses donated to his care, ensuring he had the finest veterinary attention and a steady supply of his favorite treats. At every festival, a special seat was reserved for the mayor, often a comfortable bale of hay draped with a ceremonial cloth. Children learned early to respect their furry mayor, many of them growing up with fond memories of meeting Duke at the town square or petting him during parades. Duke's re-election campaigns became highlights of the year. Though they were largely symbolic, the town approached them with genuine excitement. Ballots were printed, votes were cast, and once again, Duke emerged victorious, unanimously, of course. Each victory was celebrated with speeches, confetti, and plenty of belly rubs for the mayor. Local radio stations played cheerful music, and neighbors gathered to share stories of Duke's latest adventures. "He's got my vote for life," a resident proclaimed during one of the celebrations. And indeed, Duke had become more than a candidate. He was the heart and soul of Cormorant. Year after year, Duke led the town not with policies, but with presence. Not with laws, but with loyalty. Beyond the town limits, Duke's story inspired people across the globe. Messages poured in from animal lovers, small-town dreamers, and those simply looking for a reason to smile. Cards arrived from children who had read about Duke in school. Letters came from seniors who saw in Duke a reminder of simpler times and pure-hearted leadership. Duke's fame even sparked charitable efforts. Animal shelters reported increased adoptions, inspired by the story of a rescue dog who had become mayor. Pet lovers donated to causes supporting stray animals, often signing their contributions in honor of Mayor Duke. The story rippled outward, creating waves of positivity far beyond what anyone in Cormorant could have imagined. As Duke continued his mayoral duties, he remained blissfully unaware of the celebrity he had achieved. For him, life was as it had always been, simple, joyful, filled with sunshine, friendly faces, and an endless supply of affection. And perhaps that was the secret to his success. In a world so often consumed by noise and conflict, Duke represented a return to what truly mattered: friendship, community, and unconditional love. His leadership wasn't measured in policies or political victories. It was measured in smiles, in shared moments, in the quiet unity of a town that had found its heart in the most unlikely of leaders. And so, with each passing day, Duke continued to serve as mayor of Cormorant, not because he had to, but because the town couldn't imagine anyone else in the role. He had led them through seasons of laughter and storms of challenge, He had welcomed newcomers and comforted old friends. He had, in every sense of the word, been there for his people, and they, in turn, were there for him. Because in Cormorant, the bond between a town and its mayor wasn't written in law. It was written in loyalty, in love, and in the paw prints left on every heart. As the years passed, Duke's reign as the beloved mayor of Cormorant continued to fill the town with pride and joy. With every festival, parade, and community gathering, Duke stood at the center, his calm eyes taking in the people he loved and the town that had become his kingdom. But even the most cherished leaders cannot lead forever. By the summer of 2018, Duke's steps had grown slower. His once boundless energy had mellowed into the gentle pace of an elder statesman. Though his spirit remained bright, time had begun to leave its mark. Locals noticed that Duke spent longer hours resting in the sun, his eyes often half closed, as if savoring every golden beam. Neighbors brought him treats and extra soft blankets to lie on. Children, who had grown up waving at him in parades, approached quietly to stroke his fur and thank him for being the mayor of their childhoods. It was as if the entire town sensed that they were nearing the end of an era. Then, one quiet morning in September 2018, the news spread through Cormorant like a chill autumn breeze. Duke had passed away peacefully in his sleep. The mayor, the icon, the heart of their community, was gone. For a moment, time seemed to stop. Shops paused business. Neighbors stepped outside their homes, looking toward the town square, where Duke had so often presided over their lives with gentle grace. Tears welled in many eyes, and not a few hearts felt a deep ache of loss. Though they had always known this day would come, the reality was no less heavy. Cormorant had lost not just a mascot, but a member of its family. But even in their sorrow, the people of Cormorant knew one thing for certain. Duke's story could not end here. It had to live on. They gathered together to plan a farewell worthy of their mayor. Local officials, townsfolk, and visitors from across the state came to pay their respects. A memorial service was organized at the town square, Duke's favorite place. Flowers, photos, and handwritten notes piled up at the base of the podium, where Duke had so often sat during parades. Children drew pictures of Duke, some with angel wings, others with his signature mayoral sash and crown. Dog treats were left among the flowers, tokens of gratitude for the mayor who had given so much joy to so many. On the day of the ceremony, the entire town turned out. Even the skies seemed to understand the gravity of the moment, casting a soft, diffused light over the gathering. A banner hung above the square read simply, "Thank you, Mayor Duke, our friend forever." Residents shared stories of Duke's reign, how he had brightened their days, how his gentle presence had turned strangers into friends, how he had taught them, without ever speaking a word, that leadership is about kindness, and that love needs no language. Many laughed through their tears, remembering the light-hearted moments. Duke sneaking extra treats at the bakery. Duke proudly leading the parade with confetti stuck to his fur. Duke dozing off during official meetings, only to wake to a chorus of applause. News of Duke's passing spread far beyond Cormorant. National and international outlets paid tribute to the canine mayor. "America's favorite mayor has passed," one headline read. "Duke, the dog who led a town and won the world's heart," said another. Social media lit up with messages of condolence from across the globe. Photos of Duke filled feeds, accompanied by heartfelt captions. "Rest well, good boy. He led with love. The world needs more mayors like Duke. Hail to the chief. We'll never forget you." For a brief, beautiful moment, the story of Duke united people far beyond the borders of his small town. In homes thousands of miles away, people who had never set foot in Cormorant felt the sting of loss and the warmth of gratitude. The town knew they couldn't let Duke's memory fade, so they created a lasting tribute. A bronze statue of Duke was commissioned, crafted with extraordinary care to capture his noble posture and the soft warmth of his gaze. The statue was placed in the center of town, atop a stone pedestal engraved with the words, "Mayor Duke, leader of hearts, friend to all." Visitors continue to gather there, laying flowers at its base, snapping photos, and sharing stories of the remarkable dog who once led a town. School children on field trips learn about Duke's legacy. Tourists stop to hear locals recount the tale of the mayor with 4 paws and a tail. And in quiet moments, longtime residents still pause at the statue, offering a silent nod of thanks to their beloved leader. But perhaps Duke's greatest legacy lives not in stone, but in the hearts of the people he touched. His story continues to inspire kindness and unity in a world that often feels too divided. In Cormorant, neighbors still greet one another with smiles, remembering the way Duke brought them together. Festivals remain vibrant, filled with laughter and community spirit, a tradition Duke helped strengthen during his time as mayor. And whenever a new dog trots down the street, tail wagging, ears perked, someone is sure to say with a chuckle, "Looks like we've got a candidate for mayor." Because in Cormorant, Duke taught them that leadership isn't about power or position. It's about heart. It's about bringing people together, making them feel seen, valued, and loved. Duke did that every day of his life, and in doing so, he left behind a legacy no election could ever replace. Years later, his story continues to travel across the world. It's told in classrooms as a lesson about community. It's shared on social media as a reminder of joy in unexpected places. It's remembered at town festivals, where the spirit of Duke lives on in every cheerful gathering. And somewhere, in the memories of all who knew him, Duke still leads his town, with a wagging tail, a gentle heart, and the quiet wisdom of a leader who knew that love is the greatest legacy of all.